All living things need water. Without it, there can be no life. Fresh, clear water from unadulterated sources refreshes and energizes. Some say it can even heal. Water is therefore a most precious gift we must cherish. From the drinking water that was drawn by hand and brought house to house by the aguador of the yesteryears, to the water that gushes forth at the turn of the faucet. This is the story of how an idea has become a reality for millions of Filipino homes in rural areas. The saga of communities in the countryside taking responsibility for providing for one of the most basic human needs, each a shining testimony to living democracy at work, wellspring of progress, and the better quality of life wherever they are. Bonding together as one, inspired, and driven by a sheer admission to provide water to the nation today and guard the nation's water for tomorrow. The Philippine Association of Water Districts, or Pawd, is the umbrella organization of all the water districts in the country. In 1974, they organized themselves into what we call Philippine Association of Water Districts. A few pioneer water districts, including those established in the cities of Cagayan de Oro, Bacolod, Marawi, San Pablo, Davao, and Cebu, founded it on August 31, 1974. The water district concept was born out of necessity with the failure and subsequent abolition of the National Waterworks and Sewerage Authority, then supervisory agency for provincial water supply in the country. The government, after 2 studies, had commissioned the Adrian Wilson and James Montgomery, a joint consultancy firm, to conduct another exhaustive study and submit recommendations for the formulation of a national policy that would ensure Filipinos in the countryside access to safe, potable, adequate, and reliable water supply any time of the day. Those recommendations resulted to the enactment of the Presidential Decree No. 198, otherwise known as the Provincial Water Utilities Act of 1973, the law which governs the creation, development, operation, and improvement of the water districts. The idea of creating a national umbrella organization for all the water districts saw light on August 31, 1974, when Mr. Emmett Laurie, a consultant from the James M. Montgomery firm, initiated a meeting of water district officers to discuss this proposal. 11 water district officers, all general managers, then attended the meeting. These GMs comprised the core members of the Pawd and thereafter became charter members. Pawd is necessary to have an organization because water districts are autonomous, independent from each other. So, in the national level, an association is needed to tackle problems which are national in scope. This is very important, especially for the small water districts, because they can't really have the voice in national matter. It is Pawd that represents all the water districts, even in pushing legislations which will be for the benefit of the water districts. Archimedes Rio, General Manager of Bacolod City Water District, became the first Pawd president. In 1975, it was Benjamin Di Maano of Zamboanga City Water District who succeeded Jim Rio as president. 1977, Alfredo Veloso of Metro Cebu Water District. 1978, Ernesto San Juan of Cagayan de Oro City Water District. It was during his term that Pawd started creating waves, being the only recognized organization representing the countryside water supply system. Pawd was originally an all-GMs association. Towards the end of 1978, the organization included the board of directors to serve as board of governors, while the general managers composed the Pawd officers. Under the setup, membership in the organization became a per-district basis representing by the chairman of the board of directors and the general manager. was during this time that regional meetings were held. Tested by crisis after crisis, the association has met all the challenges with determination and without disruption in water services. In 1981, Aquarius magazine, a quarterly journal, came out its maiden issue in August 1981 with theme on regionalization, so that problems can be better and faster addressed, and regional representation in Pawd started. It was in 1981 that a request to have a Pawd office at the Luo building was made. Luo Administrator Carlos Liano provided an office at the second floor. Luo initially detailed a secretary for the Pawd office, who shall be given an honorarium. This year also, the Pawd seal was approved. In 1982, the Legal Affairs Committee of Pawd was created to deal with the issue of corporate status of water districts, to determine whether or not water districts were private or government, and resolve employees' coverage by SSS or GSIS. It was also in 1982 that Pawd was registered with the Securities and Exchange Commission. 1988. The election of the Pawd presidency during the convention in Iloilo City was memorable and exciting. There was a tie between GM Domingo Semana of Metro Lipa Water District and GM Arturo Villasan of Cabanatuan City Water District. A toss coin was agreed with GM Sermana serving the first year of 1988 and GM Villasan the second year on 1989. It was also this year that Pawd decided to hire 2 additional personnel, an officer in charge, to take charge of doing research works, to serve as liaison officer between Pawd members and government agencies, and a journalist, to take charge of the monthly newsletter as a venue for information dissemination and feedback to and from the members. On March 1, 1988, DILG Memo Circular was signed by DILG Secretary Santos, affirming the independence of water districts from interference of local officials. Several circulars of same nature were released by DILG secretaries. This was sought due to political meddling of LGUs on the water districts. Similar circulars were later issued by DILG secretaries. It was during this year that lobbying for the restoration of tax exemption of water districts started. In 1991, President Corazon Aquino signed into law RA 7109, an act granting tax exemption privileges to local water districts on August 14, 1991. Water districts shall be exempt from payment of income taxes, franchise taxes, and all other duties and fees on imported machineries and equipment, required for their operation. In June 1991, Mount Pinatubo erupted. Water districts joined hands in relief efforts through Pawd, as it did during the July 16, 1990 earthquake that hit Cabanatuan and Baguio City. This effort has been continuing on for every earthquake, volcanic eruptions, and floods that affected the water districts. In March 1992, the Supreme Court finally ruled that water districts are GOCCs. The petition was brought about by the conflicting decisions of the Supreme Court regarding the case of Tanhay Water District versus Gabaton, which ruled that Tanhay Water District is a quasi-public corporation and that PD 198 is the original charter, hence subject to the jurisdiction of the Civil Service Commission. On the other hand, in the case of Metro Iloilo Water District, the Supreme Court ruled that PD 198 cannot be considered as the charter itself creating the water district. After the 1992 Supreme Court ruling, Pawd lobbied for the privatization of water districts. In a workshop in 1994, to discuss the status of water districts, the participants, composed predominantly of legal committee members, agreed to recommend that water districts remain GOCCs under PD 198 as amended. The consensus followed after a talk with Congressman Pablo Garcia Sr., who said that water districts review PD 198 and proposed the inclusion of provisions favoring the water districts. Oversight Committee, composed of DBM, LUA, CSC, and Pawd, was organized to formulate guidelines for the smooth transition of water districts from private to government. In 1995, water districts were encouraged to organize watershed management councils in their respective communities. It was also during this year that the Gender and Development Committee was formed, and trainers training on gender and development and gender sensitivity trainings started. In 1996, the first National Oratorical and Poster Making Contest were held. In 1997, water districts were designated Deputy Environment and Natural Resources Officers, giving them the authority to uphold rules and regulations in safeguarding the watersheds within the jurisdiction of the water districts. It was also during this year that the SME Manual for Water District Categorization was released. Pawd exhibits started to take off in 1999, and since then became a major source of income for Pawd. This year marked the 25th Pawd anniversary, which was celebrated on August 30 to 31 at Philippine Village Hotel in Parañaque City. President Gloria Macapagal Arroyo issued in 2002 Proclamation Number 309, declaring the last full week of January every year as Water District Week. Also, in the same year, the first Pawd Plumbing Olympics was held. In 2004, Pawd pushed for the approval of RA 9286. It was signed by President Gloria Macapagal Arroyo on April 2, 2004. RA 9286 amended two provisions of PD 198. It amended Section 13, Compensation of the Board of Directors. Any per diem in excess of 150 pesos shall be subject to the approval of the administration. In addition thereto, each director shall receive allowances and benefits as the board may prescribe, subject to the approval of the administration. Section 23 added the provision that the general manager cannot be removed from office except for cause and after due process. In 2008 marked the launching of the first Best Publication Awards, newsletter and magazine categories. In 2009, the bill proposing the privatization of water districts through their conversion into a stock corporation or stock cooperatives was thwarted through intense efforts by key Pawd officials. The bill's sponsor withdrew the privatization bill. On September 30, the first MOA on watershed protection and management was forged between DENR, LUA, and Pawd. The amendment to the MOA was signed in 2022 to include DILG. On March 11, 2010, through the collective efforts of the water districts, pushed for the passage of Republic Act No. 10026, an act granting income tax exemption to local water districts by amending Section 27C of the National Internal Revenue Code of 1997 as amended, and adding Section 289-A to the code for the purpose. The present Pawd logo was launched this year. Memorandum of Understanding between Pawd and USAID Philippine Water Revolving Fund Support Program was signed on March 16, 2010 for the Water Operators Partnership Program. Twinning of water districts for NRW recipients include Metro Cebu, Zamboanga City Water District, Metro Carigara Water District, Davao City Water District, Dasmariñas Water District, Tabaco Water District, San Pedro Water District, Bacolod Water District, and Leyte Metro Water District. Pawd hosted the 3rd Southeast Water Utilities Network Convention at Marriott Hotel, Pasay City on December 1 to December 3, 2010. National Summit on Watershed Management, June 24 to 25, 2010 in Puerto Princesa City, Palawan by DENR, LUA, and Pawd. In 2011, Pawd forged partnership with Waterlinks together with Eco Asia, Water and Climate Alliance Florida, K-Water, Manila Water, and Maynilad, in consonance with its mission of committing to be the link of water districts in national and international collaborations. In 2012, the first science and math quiz was conducted. Also this year, the water districts were threatened of privatizing them through a bill creating the local water services and sanitation companies as single water entity for each province, sponsored by then-Senator Angara. But with the collective and proactive efforts of water districts, the author was forced to withdraw the bill due to a barrage of text messages, position papers, and press conference where the proposed bill was assailed. In 2013, Pawd showed unity amidst calamities such as Typhoon Yolanda and earthquake in Bohol, and water districts supported financially and technically the affected water districts and their employees. In response to disasters, Pawd conducted a climate change adaptation and disaster risk reduction and management orientation seminar on June 26 to June 28, 2013. In 2014, benchmarking of water districts was initiated, but did not take off as few water districts participated. Also in this year, Pawd partners with USAID Be Secure project to develop community of practice with an objective of building resiliency to climate change impacts and competence in disaster risk reduction and management. Launched on February 4, 2015 during the Pawd Convention in Cebu City. This year, Pawd was busy lobbying for the removal of the conditions prescribed under RA 10026 or tax exemption to local water districts. All unpaid taxes or any portion thereof due from a local water district for the period starting August 13, 1996 until the effectivity date of this act are hereby condoned by the government, subject to the following conditions. 1. That the Bureau of Internal Revenue, after careful review of financial statements of a water district applying for condonation of taxes due, establishes its financial incapacity after providing for its maintenance and operating expenses, debt, servicing, and reserve fund to meet such obligations for the period stated herein. And 2. That the water district availing of such condonation shall submit to Congress of the Philippines a program of internal reforms, duly certified by the Local Water Utilities Administration, that would bring about its economic and financial viability. Almost had the bill passed, but the same was vetoed by then-President Benigno Aquino Jr. The years 2016 and 2017 paved the way for Pawd to have grants from BEI PWAP projects for water districts in Bayawan, Bogo, Carcar, and Toledo City. In 2017, the first Pawd Convergence was held at the SMX Convention Center, Manila. This mid-year gathering focuses on the sharing of water districts' best practices, while the Pawd Convention is more on the national issues and policies. In 2018, the idea of Pawd benchmarking was revived through a grant from the Vitens Evidis Internationale, or PWAP. It was in 2018 when water districts entered into joint venture with private companies became an issue of concern. In this year, Water.org provided funds for water districts so they can be equipped with knowledge, skills, and attitude needed to access financing, promote asset organization, thus improving service delivery. Also, Pawd this year became a member of the NEDA's Subcommittee on Water Resources. 2020 to 2021 proved to be challenging for everyone due to COVID. However, Pawd did not stop serving the water districts. Free webinars were sponsored by BEI ranging on several topics. Grants came from the Embassy of the Kingdom of Netherlands for capacity building of C and D category water districts. In 2021, Water District Employees Cooperative, or WADECO, was organized and was CDA registered in 2023. In 2022, the Pawd benchmarking was launched. Around 50 water districts participated in the initial run. In the same year, an amended MOA on watershed protection and management was signed between DENR, LUA, Pawd, and DILG. With the appointment of a benchmarking point person for Pawd, the respondents doubled in 2023. Strategies were also devised to increase participation of the water districts, like appointment of provincial and regional benchmarking coordinators. Meanwhile, on April 25, 2023, the 2023 NEDA Joint Venture Guidelines was released. Among the salient amendments is that the partnership should be for a specific single activity and not meant to take over the management and operation of the other party. Pawd will continue to uphold its role in advocating and advancing the interests of water districts. Pawd also hopes for water districts to be able to contribute to the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals No. 6, which is universal access to water and sanitation by 2030. Over Pawd's 50 years of existence, it has formed many partnerships and support from various organizations. Pawd is grateful to Manila Water Academy for its assistance in the learning sessions during conventions and convergence. Moreover, Pawd deeply appreciates the support that LUA has given to the organization over the years and the contribution of the former Pawd employees. Today, millions of Filipinos in the countryside are enjoying the gift of life in flowing abundance at the turn of a faucet. This is now made possible by more than 500 operational water districts in Luzon, Visayas, and Mindanao, put up and managed by the people from the local communities themselves. A model that no less than the World Bank wanted to be emulated by other developing countries.